Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Bag Too Big. This happened several years ago when I was a student and backpacking across Europe. I was flying with a budget airline with carry-on only. I had one small suitcase that was within the maximum size requirements and a small purse. As I got in line to board, an employee pulled me out of the line to ask me to put the suitcase in their metal sizer. The suitcase was pretty full and bulging a bit, so even though it was the right size, it didn't go into the sizer easily. And the employee stopped me from pushing the suitcase in, saying it needed to fit into the sizer without using any force. She tried to get me to check my bag for 60 euros, which was a lot of money for me at the time. Instead, I opened my suitcase in front of her and proceeded to start putting on several items of clothing. I was already wearing a sweater and ended up putting on a t-shirt, a long sleeve, another sweater and a cardigan. Closed my suitcase and it suddenly fit into the sizer without force. She begrudgingly let me board while wearing my 5 tops. As soon as they scanned my ticket and checked my ID, I pulled over to the side. I opened my suitcase, took off all the extra layers, put them back in my suitcase and continued down the runway to the plane. All within view of the employee that tried to get me to check my bag. The next story is called Don't Speak to Them. Many years ago now, I worked on the student system of a university in the UK. Those of you that are familiar with this time of the year will know that the second Thursday of the month is A-level results day. The universities, however, get sent them the Friday before, so they can make all their decisions ahead of the students getting their results. They generally get downloaded from UK's central admission system on that Friday into our systems. This is the busiest and most critical time of the admissions cycle. The Tuesday of the week the university is due to get results, the link to the UCAS starts playing up, disconnecting after only a few seconds. No one else is encountering the error in the UK. Oracle is completely stumped. Nothing is improving the situation. I knew that the university had put a new firewall in on Monday evening. I suggested that this may be the issue, but was informed by my manager that I was not to disturb the networks team under any circumstances. They were too busy. Now I knew this was likely the issue, but fine. I had nothing else to do. So I stayed night after night making overtime until 11 PM or later trying to solve the issue with Oracle and UCAS support. Nothing worked. Then, on Friday evening, with the university fearing the worst, I got in the elevator and there was someone from the network team. I mentioned the issue and he said, literally, "Oh, we had a bulletin from our firewall people about OTBI connections. Let me go back and make a tweak." It instantly started working. Shortly afterward, I managed to get the university to agree to pay out my 70 hours of overtime in cash, rather than in lieu, and the 70 hours were not just from that one week. And then I quit 2 weeks later to go to a much better paid job. The third story is called 15,000 per minute. About 20 years ago, I was working for a general computer service shop. We got a contract with a printer manufacturer to do preventive maintenance at Chrysler for their barcode printers. I went to the factory and followed the procedure for 3 different printers. It involved disassembling a few bits and cleaning any paper shavings and applying some sort of rubber renewer on the rollers. The whole checklist took about 20 minutes. I had an escort for the job, as the factory is a huge place. We walked down to the end of the line, where the cars roll off, get their final barcode slapped on, scanned and off to storage. I was performing maintenance on the final barcode printer, as the line was shut down. I started taking tools and supplies out of my work bag, getting ready to work on the printer. My escort says to me, "I hope this doesn't take more than 15 minutes. That's when the line starts up again. It's $15,000 for every 60 seconds the line is down, and we'll be sure to send you the bill if you go over." At this point, I begin taking the tools and supplies off the table and putting them back in my bag. He asked me, "What are you doing?" I responded, "I'm leaving. These printers take about 20 minutes and I'm not authorized to risk $15,000 per minute. Please give your service rep a call when you have more time." He started blustering that they needed the work done, as I calmly put the supplies back in my bag. He escorted me out without saying much else. A couple of weeks later, we got a call to go back. The entire line was shut down for the day, and a manager took me to the printer. He told me that the line gets shut down all the time for various issues, and that the guy who brought me around got in a bit of trouble, but he was union, so what can you do? The next story is called This Exact Price. For most of my working life, I have been in new car sales. This happened quite some time ago to a colleague of mine, and I was there to witness it. We had a current special on one of our small new sedans. It was being advertised everywhere as a drive-away special. If I remember correctly, it was a 19,990 Australian dollars drive-away. This was also painted on our showroom windows in massive writing. On a fairly quiet day, an older gentleman walks in with an Automobile Association magazine in hand. One of the features of said magazine is to list all the current vehicle models and the list prices. In my country, the automotive list prices are before on-road cost, registration, etc. The list price of the vehicle we were running the special on was $22,490 plus on-road cost. The older man approached my colleague and asked about said car. When she told him that we had them in stock, he loudly said, "Okay, I'll buy one, and I'm not paying any more than this price here," pointing to his magazine. My colleague said, "Sure, but," and was immediately interrupted by the man. "No, I'll not have any of your sales tricks. I'm buying one, and I won't pay any more than the $22,490 shown here in the magazine." My colleague tried one more time to point out the special and was rudely shut down again. So she sold the old man his car for $2,500 more than the special. The fifth story is called Eating Times. My job pays a total of $35 per day for food while traveling, divided into breakfast, lunch and dinner. The rules also say that each meal needs to be bought within a certain time period of 2 hours. You must eat breakfast between 8 to 10 am, lunch between 12 to 2 pm and dinner between 5 to 7 pm. They didn't used to be too stringent about this because the person who approved travel expenses thought it was stupid. Then they replaced her. Because they would only approve a very cheap flight, I had to leave my home at 3 am. I stopped to grab a coffee and a bagel at about 5. The new person rejected it and said I could only buy and eat food within a meal period. Well, fine. I used to work straight through lunch. Because I have to work with people from lots of time zones, this was sometimes necessary. Now I leave or reject calls because it's in my lunch period and I must go lest I miss it. No working late either. I leave at 5 pm because I can't miss my dinner period. I also make sure to spend all $35. I must be healthy and not skip meals. Coincidentally, hungry homeless people also enjoy my meal periods. The last story is called We Don't Make Mistakes. This is my grandfather's story and dates back to the 60s. My grandfather was a first-generation American, the youngest son of 8 children, son of English immigrants. He met his sweetheart at age 19 and married her soon after. Her family were Mexican citizens who became Americans due to California becoming a part of the US and suffered some prejudice due to their heritage. My grandfather used to go to the bank with his father-in-law to make sure that he was able to cash his paychecks without issues. One time, the bank teller passed him his money instead of counting it out. So after leaving the counter, he counted up the funds and found that the teller had accidentally given him twice the amount shown on the check. So my grandfather and his father-in-law went back up to the teller and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but I think you made a mistake." Looking down her nose at him, she said in a condescending tone of voice, "Miles Fargo never makes a mistake." Being an honest guy, the father-in-law said, "But?" Then my grandfather stopped him and said, "You heard her, Miles Fargo never makes a mistake. Let's go." And off they went. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.